So good. Hello, everybody. My name is Urban, and welcome to our first ever podcast episode. So welcome to the DoubleJump Podcast. I had the absolute pleasure of having Hudson Martins on the podcast. He is an absolute force of nature. He's one of my good friends, one of my best mentors, and he's still mentoring me around, not just in FX, but in life in general. He could be a life coach, honestly. Hudson is going to show a lot of the cool stuff they did at Access and explain how they did it. He's going to tell a bunch of cool stories on the whole production. He will also share tips on how to get into the industry, what are some of the things to look at as a junior, how does Access hire juniors, what to look in showreels, stuff like that. So very practical tips. Oh, by the way, don't worry about this on my nose. It's just to help me breathe better. It's all good. A lot of people have been asking me about it. It's all good. We're going to put timestamps in the video. In the first 10 minutes, we had some issues with the audio, so disregard that, skip it, go to the good parts. And yeah, Hudson is going to share his screen and show a bunch of cool stuff they did at Access. All right, let's jump straight into it.
There you go.
Damn, look at that. Beautiful.
I know it's good. I should bring those special webcam to work today.
Special webcam to work today.
Yes, because when I have a work, I usually like to hide myself, so you should have a really 20p camera.
So you're still at work?
Yeah. Just finishing up, so I thought finish it, go ahead for this. So everyone here can hear us. People can actually hear what we're talking about. Is that correct?
People can hear us, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, it's a live audience. Yeah, we're live.
How do you open the chat for this, Urban, in case people have any questions?
It's on the right.
How does it work? Oh, there you go.
Top right. You can start chatting, yeah.
Oh, it's sweet. That's cool. Been trying to get me bored on these for a while now. I've been enjoying.
Yeah, dude, I'm so excited. This is going to be an awesome episode. I'm actually like I've never been so excited before for a podcast.
Oh, this is a podcast as well. Yes.
Well, I guess it's a podcast. Yeah.
Sweet. I've been listening a lot to Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson. If anyone else is a fan, it's great. Some deep voice. Ooh.
Or
say something interesting.
Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman voice. Just use some use AI to change your voice.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Not again.
Can you is there a way to boost your mic levels a bit? You're just a bit quiet, I think.
Yeah. Let me try. There's some settings here.
Can you guys hear Hudson okay? Or is it just me? I think it's a bit on the low side.
Yeah, please let me know. Is that okay from your end? I'm speaking quite quiet. I usually do it pretty good. Okay. Fine. You need to go to Specsavers for hearing, my friend. If it's too low, please let me know. I can adjust here.
Yeah, it's a bit low.
It's a bit low? Okay. Is it that now?
No, I think it's the same.
I'm going to turn off input sensitivity. How's that?
Oh, I can do this. Oh, user volume. I'll do it. Can you say something, Hudson?
1 2 1 2.
Okay.
Is that working?
I boosted it for you.
Sweet, thank you. No, I adjusted voice settings. It was all automatic stuff.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Jay.
All right, let's start this. I have an introduction for you. I can give you an introduction.
I'm so worried.
No, it's not.
Okay, go for it.
No, it's great. It's great. But essentially, so Hudson is one of the kindest people I ever met. He's also a super good friend, and he is an even better mentor. So he's been mentoring me around, even though I'm not at Access, but he's just like a life coach in general. Hudson could be a life coach, trust me. So it's so funny because me and Ava, almost like daily, every time we don't know what to do, like if we have a decision we cannot decide on, we're like, what would Hudson do? It almost became our mantra, like our slogan is like, what would Hudson do? Because Hudson always goes to the extremes. He always pushes himself, and no matter what the situation is, he can handle it. And I actually have one of the, you probably forgot this, but like there's like a special moment that I remember of you. And it was, we were working on, I'm not going to say what we were working on. It doesn't matter. But I think there was a lot of people in the studio. We were all doing a bit of overtime. It was great. And
Yeah.
someone did something, like it was a mistake was made. And the farm
Oh yes. No,
started,
we removed.
yeah, like the farm was rendering, but it was rendering to nowhere. Like the files were going to a void. Like the files were not there. The files didn't exist. And people started panicking. It was like 20 people, I think, in the studio. People were like, holy shit, what are we going to do? Like, we literally need to deliver this like in 3 days or whatever.
It was Friday night, by the way. That's 6 p.m.
Friday
when
night, yeah,
the
6 or,
project went.
yeah. And I think like, so people started panicking, but the way Hudson handled it, it was like, he was super, what's the word, like collected. You were super calm, not panicking, and you just called a few people like with a super calm voice. And I don't know what you did and who you talked to, but it just felt like you had stuff under control. You calmed everybody down, I think. And like I really remember that moment in my mind. Like that was one of the it was one of those,
I
what would
remember
Hudson
it.
do?
It's there's a secret to that when everyone's freaking out,
Yeah,
especially if you're a leader. You can't freak out yourself.
no,
Even if you don't believe it's gonna work, you need to make everyone believe it's gonna work. It was one of those. Yeah.
it was one of those.
Oh,
Yeah. But yeah, that
I
was
was I remember when
my quick intro of you, and like my view on your personality is, what would Hudson do? I use it every day. So
I appreciate that. It's really cool. I know you and Eva are always in touch and we're always following what you guys are doing. And
mm,
thanks for having me here, by the way, DoubleJump Academy, because I've been following it guys from the beginning. And it's
yeah.
super cool. It's a very, very cool idea.
Mm. Yeah, well, hopefully you're gonna join us one day or do something. I keep bugging Hudson for a
Yeah, let's
workshop
go.
for 5 years now. Yeah.
One day.
Workshop. Everybody in the chat. Workshop. Workshop.
Yeah, one
There we
day.
go.
A workshop. I
Yes.
can do it. I can feedback on all the workshops. I'm quite good at that. Oh, there's too many workshops, of course.
There you go. But
I'm glad to be here, and there's a very kind introduction, Urban.
mm,
I do remember that instance. I think the scariest part was that people were going home as well, and we were rendering and delivering the project on Tuesday, and this was Friday night, 6 p.m. And I was talking to your project supervisor. You just had your halt, whole work, and you go back. Literally, the folder just got missing by accident. So we could just run some backups with IT and stuff. It's all solved. Lost probably an hour or two rendering. That's it.
yeah, we lost a few renders, but it was okay in the end. Yeah.
Audio is low.
Audio is a bit low. I think maybe you have like a denoiser on top or something. Like sometimes some of the words get missed. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just your mic, but
I'm really trying to make sure get everything.
you had the same
Sure,
mic. Is it a different mic than yesterday?
yes, it's a different one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll speak loudly if that is okay.
Yeah, if you do it like
Or I
that,
can
it's
change
better.
the laptop. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's better if it's louder. Yep. All right.
Sweet.
Cool. Well, let's get into this. I have a bunch of questions, but maybe I don't know. We did a test yesterday, and you started showing me some cool stuff from what Access is doing, and
Yeah.
maybe we can just start with that because it's the most visually interesting part of this podcast, I guess. But yeah, just the stuff you were showing me were so inspirational, and I was telling everybody before you joined that I'm so pissed that I left Axis right before you guys started working on the Diablo cinematics, but also like all the stuff you guys did after I left is just mind-blowing. Like the quality is so high. It's insane.
It has definitely been developing. I'm just checking. Is the microphone better now?
It's
Because
way
someone
better.
suggested I might have.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, someone. Yes, thank you. It was a new camera, so I plugged it in and it just took over the whole computer.
Oh my God.
Yay,
Let's
let's
restart.
do it.
Restart the whole thing from the beginning.
Nah. Yeah, so what Urban was talking about is Axis and how it's been developing, and it's really cool. It's been quite a cool journey because it's always been developing since I joined. And these days, like, the quality, I'm just used to. We do kind of everything from very high-end, kind of hyper-real to stylized work as well.
Yeah.
And I just got used to it, and it was really cool to hear your reaction yesterday. Like, oh my God, it's so much better quality from
Dude,
like 5 years ago when you
honestly,
left.
yeah.
And for me, it just felt like it feels natural because I think it's just been growing with the studio. So I don't see that difference that much. But yeah, let's show the reel. So you hear me good now. I'm glad. Sorry.
It's good. Yeah.
Before that, I was just talking a bunch of random stuff. Anyway, so let's see. Share my screen.
Do it.
This worked yesterday. There we go. Do I need Nitro, Urban?
Should be good because you're on this server.
No. Okay, sweet. All right. Cool. So this is the Axis website. I will just show one reel. We have 3 reels because we do that much different kind of cool work.
Yeah.
I'll show the hyper reel for now. Or the stylized one. Show the stylized later. Let's go. And I'll be quiet meanwhile you watch it. You getting the sound?
Mm-hmm.
Why here? The truth.
So good.
Death for you. What beauty!
End them.
We're talking about this guy in FMX this year. That'll be fun. Cooking.
Dude. So fucking good. Jesus Christ. Wow.
Glad you guys like it. It's really cool. I appreciate that. I think everyone in Access would as well. You know what I mean?
Jesus. Yeah,
It is
but
quite
like
cool.
this is like literally like right at the top when it comes to quality. Like it's so good. Damn. So
Oh, I'll just play something without sound in the background. So because
sure.
we do so many different things, I
Yeah.
believe I can turn off sound.
For your
Yes, there you go.
service.
So this is also what we do. So we
Mm.
do all this same team, same time, complete different style. We can talk meanwhile this is on.
How many people are currently working on this? Like when so at the studio, how many people are currently employed?
So I'm unsure the numbers these days. We've been going between 400, 500.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're just on the lower end at the moment. We just finished one larger TV series, which is not announced yet, which is a big, large team, and we're kind of hoping make sure that other ones comes in soon as well, which are
Mhm.
on the pitching stage on the radar. But yeah, when I joined Axis almost 10 years ago, I think we were 60 people on the HQ here in Glasgow,
Yeah.
and throughout COVID, I think we hit 400 and so on. So it's been kind of, I've worked on all of these projects
Mm.
through these years. It's really cool to be involved with the team. So yeah, I think that's the number at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go
Yeah.
to the
It-
effects. Love it. So nice.
So during COVID, is that when you guys were hiring more? Like there was a lot of more projects in the pipeline, right?
Yes. So we are doing not our first feature, but our first kind of a mid quality, which is Scrooge.
Mm-hmm.
And when we started doing that, you need 180 people continuously working just on the film, animation, all the different departments going through the pipeline simultaneously. Because any other company, you want to reassure the risks are low and you're not putting all your eggs in a basket. We are doing loads of projects. So I think we were doing the Diablo project, the film, and
Yeah.
multiple trailers at once. I think as a maximum, the effects team, which I was managing back then, we were 45 people, including outsource, kind of
Wow.
smaller company doing one project.
Mm-hmm.
And we had like 10 projects going on at the same time,
10
which is
projects,
challenging.
dude. That's a lot.
Different scales. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. So some of these projects are quite small. Obviously, in a small team of 2 people was enough.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it was quite fun. We expected growth, but during COVID, we grew quite a lot. For anyone out there, if you ever want to join Axis one day, I see some people here from Axis. I think Bondok, I see your name here in the group. But it's fully remote and hybrid as well. That's kind of our norm. And if you're in Glasgow and you're keen to come into the HQ and work from the studio like I do, you can do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I recommend working in the studio because, at least for me, it was such an amazing experience getting to work as a team. And then, even though you were my boss and like my supervisor, it never felt like you were, it always felt like you are like one of us, like our, you were, the way you were leading the team didn't felt that you were pushing anyone. You were really a part of the team. So I wanted to ask you, like, what is your philosophy on leadership and how do you view teamwork?
Shit, that's a heavy question. I do appreciate this. One might be a long answer now. I'm just gonna turn off this reel, which is running in the background, so to not distract. So, leadership is the classic thing that a lot of people either they've practiced it, so they can do it okay when they start doing our roles, or you start learning when you get into a supervisor role, lead role. A lot of supervisors and leaders, you've chosen to do that job because you're really good at Houdini or whatever software or application you're good at, not necessarily because of people skills. And I think we can all improve that. So when I started this role, I didn't think I was a very great leader at all. I was okay FX artist, that's all. And I just started reading loads of books and understanding a lot about myself, how I react in different situations, how, different strategies of how you can help your team, how you can connect to the team better. But essentially, if you are a good leader, not a manager, because just being a manager is not, in my opinion, great always. When you're a really good leader, people just follows you, they trust you. So they trust your instinct despite they don't believe it's the right answer, and you say, let's go together towards that goal, they will follow you And that is when you manage to kind of have a certain kind of following, and you do need to build respect to one another, yourself and the team member. Doesn't matter if it's same department, if it is a manager and a co-worker. You create those respect and those bonds across the board in your surrounding. The stronger they are, the better, easier it'll be to lead. You can be frank to each other. You don't have to sugarcoat things, or, I think that's quite important. And if you show that you care, but you also show that end of the day it's a business, but you need to show that you care. But you're still running a business, and you still want your team member to be better, because every team member who's better, it makes my job better. And in the beginning years of Access, I remember I was working with a effects supervisor called Jaden Patterson, amazing, really close friend of mine. And we really struggled because, I'll give book recommendations shortly. We really struggled because it was really difficult to hire experienced Houdini effects artists. We're talking Houdini 13, Houdini 12.5. And there was very few people who were really experienced, who could lead teams, who could solve difficult problems. So we had to rely on hiring more junior members. And that was quite a heavy load on us as supervisors. I don't know if you remember, Ban, when you joined, but
Yeah.
I started doing like classes. I would come in 1 hour before work,
So good.
2-3 days a week, and
Yeah.
whoever wants to join, they would come and they could listen to we would do classes continuously. Sorry, I realized I muted you, Urban, so if you ask anything, let me know. And we started doing that. So leadership is about make sure that your team wants to follow you, that you have a mutual trust and respect, and make sure that you're both giving value to each other. It's easier said than done. There's just so many intrinsic bits that goes to one another, so many different situations that you need to act as a leader, and sometimes act as a friend, and sometimes act as a manager.
Yeah.
And create a culture. A culture. Forgot to say that. If you create a good culture,
Yeah.
if you create a culture that you want to help each other, good.
Yeah. Culture. I think what I remember a lot is you bring in breakfast to the morning meetings. Stuff like, it's the small things. Breakfast, morning meetings, you brought like croissants, some random shit. It was just random stuff. I don't know where you picked it up, but it was like the small things. And then watching One Punch Man in like one of the FX meetings or whatever,
Yeah,
just stuff like that.
just chill.
I think I don't know if you guys still do it, but do you remember we were doing some exercises in communication? What was that? I forgot what it was, but it was like,
We had to say one thing that was really weak, one thing that was they really enjoyed doing,
yeah,
one thing that you really disliked doing, and something you're looking forward to. I think it was.
yeah, it was like teamwork type exercises. Everybody hated it.
Everyone did it, and
Yeah.
for some reason, people asked for it. Like, if
Yeah.
you hate it that much, why do you ask for it?
Yeah,
Why are you missing it? Same time,
yeah. Do you guys still
that
do
makes
it?
sense.
Do you still do it, or was that just?
I used to do it sometimes, not as often. Started more. See, the leadership really changed when you go full remote or hybrid. It really, 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 you needed to adapt much in a different way,
Yeah.
and it was actually harder as a leader or manager. You had to. Yes, I'm from Brazil, Christian. You had to truly. I had to engage more. You had to search for people more. In the studio, you be around your team,
Yeah.
and you have physical cues on how people are feeling, if they're stressed, they're not. You can see if people are working overtime when they don't need to, and so forth. See, when we went offsite, and it was a complete different story. I felt I was spent way more time on everyone and the team. So we went from having kind of one team call a week to have 2, 3 sometimes, just to see how things were going and have more transparency.
Yeah.
It definitely changed. It does change
Yeah.
a bit.
You mentioned more like in the early days, you guys were hiring a lot of juniors. Do you guys still do that? And what do you search in juniors? Like, what are some of the stuff you would look in juniors? What are the no-nos that you also pick up, you know?
Cool. Do you want to start with no-nos or like what you look for?
Um,
I had a strategy. Okay, I had a strategy
do
for
the
hiring junior members. Yeah, I had a strategy for hiring
Mm.
more junior members. When you're junior, either graduating or sometimes you hire people that are not even studying. They just really like doing the work. The most important thing to look at is where the person is in the growth in the curve. So you look at whatever reel they chose to apply for. That's where they are today. Let's say that's your reel. That's how much you can do. And as much as I could, I would go back in time, especially on Vimeo. I would check back in time and see how the person be progressed to last year.
Mhm.
Where was that person a year ago? And that would clearly tell me the trajectory of the learning curve of the junior member. Because usually whenever you're junior, if you have not worked professionally and you join a studio, the first thing you're gonna do the first month, you will learn and you soak up so much information.
Yeah.
And that was quite a good strategy of knowing, okay, that person, a lot of times the reels are not there. If you saw the quality you deliver, and it's not there if you're going to do the work alone, but the learning aspect and the personalities. And the second one is, okay, that's the quality of your work, is your learning ability and where you are today. The second aspect is your personality of, are you a team member or not?
Mhm.
So, and that goes to the big no-nos. There are not no-nos in terms of how you show your work. Yes, don't make the reels too long and overly dragged with, breakdowns. Breakdowns are usually something really cool for yourself and for your friends, especially if you're learning the software. Once you worked for many years, you watch a shot, you kind of have an idea of how that was constructed. So unless you're searching for a more technical role, like a TD and so on, adding breakdowns to your reel just prolongs the time it takes for a supervisor or whoever is hiring to see your true potential. So you have a shot, breakdown. When you're watching reels, you kind of scrub really quick. You might be looking at 50 reels one day, try to find 2 people. So bear that in mind when you're doing your reels. And eventually, personality are the big no-nos, I would say, in terms of if you clearly are if you clearly come across as a person that would be difficult to work in a team,
Yeah.
very proud of yourself and so on. It's good to be proud of your work, but how you communicate, just like this, you can tell I was quite okay feeling kind of the personality, how that we interact with the team and the culture I'm trying to build in the team. So yeah, I hope that answers you quite okay, Urban.
Yeah, dude, I love it. It's I think personality is the most important one, exactly like you said, because you're going to be injecting, it's exactly what you said. You will be injecting that person into a team, and bad toxic personalities are like a virus. Once you have one bad apple, the whole basket will go bad.
Yep.
Bad. And yeah, I feel like
That happens.
it happens. And but I feel like you were doing such a good job at it, and like I made amazing friendships as well. While working at Access, just because the whole team was amazing. And yeah, it was essentially, sometimes it's not even the work. It's all about the potential for growth. And I feel like because the whole mindset was about learning in the team, and you were really pushing that, and you were doing workshops yourself in the morning. I showed up every time. It was like 7
Yeah.
7 a.m. and I was like, show me the cool stuff. And then you
Yeah.
even recorded some of them, and I was just, like you said, just soaking in everything. And it was also because I had my own studio before I joined Access, and I was super young. So I came from a position of leadership. So I was leading my studio, but the studio I was in, it was a filmmaking studio. But even back then, I was just obsessed with learning. That's why I started learning Houdini as well, because it just something my brain really liked, learning stuff in Houdini. And then when I joined Access, it was just more of that. And it was just like, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to learn everything now. And you were really empowering all of that. And maybe because of all of that learning and being obsessed with learning, I also then started teaching. Like just doing like the completing the
Full
completing
circle.
full circle, and maybe that's like one of the reasons why we then even started Double Jump, was to help other people, because we know how it was for us, 5, 6, 10 years
Yeah.
ago, and we're just trying to get people up and running now in the industry. But yeah, so thank you for doing all of that. It would every time when people ask me for studio recommendations, Axis is for me like absolutely the best one. Maybe it changed.
That's cool.
Maybe it changed. I don't know. But when I was there, it was amazing.
Yeah. It always changes. It always changes. And I think because we are such a hybrid studio, and most people work from home now, it's different. I think culture is different.
Yeah.
It still is the same nice Scottish openness, and,
Yeah.
and people are friendly in general. Everyone wants to help each other. So you still don't have that kind of departments of fighting each other and so on. There's usually a one for all kind of. Everyone's trying to do the best they can to get a project over the line, and that's really cool. I appreciate it, the learning culture. You're right. Someone was asking about top 3 book recommendations, and that was one which is all about learning. The learning mindset, I think, is the name. But I'll try to remember. The Particle Boy asked, so I'll try to remember the titles and I'll send over later.
Yeah.
But
yeah, another book that you bought, I think 5 or 10 books, and I think it was. Where is that book? I think I have one here. Wait.
which one is it?
This is your book.
Oh yeah.
When I was visiting, I think last year.
Yes.
I
you
took
needed
this
it. You
book
still
with
need
me.
it. You still need that book, Urban.
It's a good one.
See what you're doing on a daily basis.
No, but it was the yellow one. It was called The One Thing.
The One Thing, yeah.
Yeah, and
I remember that one. It was cool.
Yeah, because you were studying that book, and then you were also implementing stuff from that book into the culture and the teamwork. And I think it was back then when we started implementing the time blocks. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I basically blocked. This is really cool.
Yeah.
And I basically blocked any producer or anyone from outside the team to book meetings with any team members between, was it like quite crazy? I think it was between 11 to like 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Just like let people just work.
Just
No
no
dailies, no
meetings.
nothing.
Yeah, don't bother them. Yeah.
Yeah. It still is kind of a thing
Mm-hmm.
now. Has become like studio wide. It's quite approachable. So the dailies is one big gap in between those, trying to really alleviate it. Obviously, if you're supervising a project, you usually interact with multiple departments and leads. It's a bit harder to not be kind of in that many meetings. But no, I applied it. I mean, the most important thing that maybe others do not understand is when you start supervising a larger team is 8 people, 12, 10, 20, 40, however your team grows. It's not about your knowledge in Houdini necessarily that will save the day or save everyone's life. Is actually, we'll talk about this in FMX. If you can make everyone in your team 5 to 10% just more effective with the time you spend in the studio, you'll be able to do so much more effects, like on a daily basis. So it will explode of how many different effects you'll be able to do.
It compounds, right?
That was, it compounds, and it goes back to the very beginning, what I said. We are sometimes chosen to be supervisors or leaders because we're good at the software, because we're good at doing effects, art, characters. And that's why I started reading those books. Like Houdini stuff, you can keep learning it, but I haven't read these books. I started reading them and trying to make the leadership way better because of that. I do have a question about, should you answer the questions and so on?
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, there's no formula, but yeah, you can.
Okay, no, that's cool. But yeah, I'm from Brazil. If everyone asking, there's a few Brazilians asking, yeah. And how much did you practice a day to become an entry-level effects artist? Spike, it's just how much you enjoy. As much as you enjoy, there is no formula. Honestly, who's ever looking for a formula to get a job? There isn't a formula. There are better practices. The better practices choose real-world kind of problem solving. It's nice to do explosions, but give the explosion a purpose. It's nice to do laser beams, give the laser beam a purpose. And when I mean a purpose, give it a shot, give it a story, why is the laser beam the project in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I have a script and we're talking to our clients, we question those things because it's quite expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So like, why are we adding this laser beam? It doesn't help the story. We can spend the money there and make it better.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah, doing
how
giving story to effects. Yeah, it's funny, right? When you think about it, it's just an explosion, but what is the purpose? What's the meaning? How, because that will then dictate how big the explosion is, what's the impact that it's going to have. And I think you were talking about that. You guys started
yeah.
implementing FX briefs to speed up the whole
Yeah,
process. Yeah.
That one is a secret until FMX. So I think it's gonna be recorded.
That's fine.
Yes. Oh my God. So this became a thing. Is a thing now. So everyone expects it, and the people like it. It's very time consuming, but it is amazing to do effects briefs because you're doing the first pass effects. So what is an effects brief? I won't show you now. I might have a video. I'll see if I can pick it up. Let me, I'll pick
Fuck
up
it.
the video because
Fuck it.
this one
Let's do it.
can't swear in podcasts, Urban. No,
It's my podcast. I can do
this
whatever I want.
is that right, folks? I don't know. Can do a voting system later. 1 second. Where are the videos? Here. Videos. The briefing. There you go. Now share. Can I share? RV probably can, right? We try.
Yeah, should work.
This
You can
can be
also
shared
you can also
on.
share just
Yeah.
the application or the whole screen.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
But yeah, this is going to be a light version of the FMX talk. So me and
Well,
Hudson
this
and
is one of
Corbin,
the videos.
yeah, we're all going to be at FMX. So if you guys see, if anybody from here is at FMX, say hi to us. We're also going to have a booth for DoubleJump, but yeah, we have a lot of hats, shirts. Maybe we're not going to have hats. I don't know yet, but we have a lot of shirts and merch. So just so you guys know.
So yeah, FMX, let's go.
Mm.
So this one's going to be shared on FMX on the talk, and I'm just going to show. We started doing these brief documents, and it looks quite, you might say, corporate, but this was one of the most important things I implemented in the team because we started realizing magical effects is so complex.
Yeah.
And usually the starting point for most people doing a magical effects, you get some references from here, some realistic references, some behavior, like, oh, I should behave like those magical bubbles, look like the Marvel Thor film, and they're all put together. And then you're there and said, okay, I'm going to create this thing. Usually after your first or second version is when you get the real brief. That's when everyone starts thinking, how is this effect going to work within the cinematic, within the shots, in technical point of view, how do you actually implement it, what layers you need to put together to make the compositing work. So we started doing these brief documents. They can take like literally 2 hours to do one, as you can see, because we are gathering all the information we know about this complex magical effects. We're trying to draw the different elements that will build up the effect. Really everything to just guide the team member. How can we approach the effect? But also the most important thing it actually made, it makes me think, as a supervisor, think about the effect. What shots are we going to be in? How are we going to implement them? It makes the director of our side, the client side, to really look and think about, actually, that's how that magical effect works. That's how it's implementing. That's the behavior of it. You see all these question marks, you started really early. You solve a lot of problems early. And you see on the FMX talk, you see this first thing here. Literally the effects looks exactly like the concept. That's the concept.
Yeah.
The shot looks the same. The shot looks the same as that one. It was just about, we are happy where this is going, let's implement it. Yeah, so this is the brief document. It's not Houdini, but it is in the same way.
Yeah, it's super important.
Cool.
I think, magical effects are so abstract. It's very important to communicate it, because sometimes even, I remember we were working on some stuff, and what we were doing and what the client was thinking, what the client thought we were doing was, there was a disconnect, because we didn't have any concepts to go from. So I think, we spent a few weeks, we made some stuff, and then we showed it to the client, and they were like, well, that's not really what we wanted. And then in a way we kind of wasted 2 weeks, which is expensive. So that's, doing briefs like that. It's cool.
We have to think, so you have expense can also be translated to many things. If you work in the industry, you have cost. And that's that's why budgets gets really everyone feels like the budget's not enough, but it should be enough. So these we have those waste, you can make it better. But also the person, like whoever's creating something, we all have created something. You create something, you put heart and soul, and it looks nice, but it was not what was intended to be. And you restart. The energy, your second level, the second time you restart is here, and once again and again, because everyone knows QC. When you're doing QC, it's very important, but the energy level is low. It's because you solve all the problems, you've done all the artistic. It looks really cool, but you just need to do that thing so it works in lighting, or that thing so it works in the other department. So you're actually wasting not just money, but also your team members' energy on just redoing things that could have been avoided. So it's time consuming. It is. But whenever I get into a project, I try to get in as early as possible. Okay, let's solve these things, the big ones. Don't do this for everything. The big ones. That's the ones spend time on. Yeah.
Sweet.
Where do I teach?
No, I think
I don't teach.
not yet. Dude, I keep telling you, you would be such a good teacher, and like just the amount of knowledge, because you're so artistic but also super technical, because you have a history. Well, I think you have a degree in mathematics, right? Or you?
Yeah, financial math. I wanted
Yeah.
to be rich, and I chose animation.
Yeah.
No, no. I was studying engineering. I had 1 year left, industrial management back home in Sweden when I lived there, and I really wanted to work in battlefields. So that's why I kind of switched and started doing digital graphics, thinking I would work in games. And I started doing real time. Guys, this is 10 years ago, 12 years ago almost. Real time wasn't that fun then. And I realized this is not very good looking. So then I started doing more other things. I was a rigger and modeler. And then a friend of mine, he wanted to do Houdini because he liked effects. And I think that looks quite cool. Like, are we going to try it? We tried it together. Luckily, we had one studio in Sweden who used Houdini back then. And they let us use their licenses. And honestly, I opened it. I could not go back to Maya. Could not go back to Maya. Like, the history, the node system was like, oh my God.
Makes
and
sense.
If you're a technical artist in Maya, you just, it makes sense.
Yeah, once you go Houdini,
It
you
did
never go back.
Yeah. We have a few questions here, Urban. They're quite long. Should spend a bit of time just answering them. So I'll try to be quick. The engineering background help on your artistic effects journey? Yes, in some aspects. See, I was learning. You learn to use matrices. So I was doing hand multiplications of matrices back in the engineering.
Yeah.
And then started doing Houdini effects, and we started doing destruction. Back then, you had to do your own matrix transformations of your own displacement maps onto the pieces that you're forming. And that for me, that was that feels quite normal to do. So the technical side of things, yes, but also here's a very important thing. End of the day, we don't do tech, we do art. So it also hindered myself in the beginning to open up to understand, the art form of Houdini, and to use the technical kind of knowledge as a support mechanism rather than a hinder. You know what I mean? So I've seen many times people using mathematical formulas to do an artistic solution. End of the day, someone just needs to draw a curve. That's it.
Yeah.
There's a few more questions. That's cool.
Go for it.
Sure. Okay. Hi, Hudson. Do you have any advice for guiding a team through a road bump during a project when the team might be stressed and helping keep things on track? P.S. Finishing up group projects at uni right now, and times are tense. And this is from
alcohol.
Jonah. I know Jonah. No, I know him. So I know. Yeah, I messaged him on Instagram. Hey, Jonah.
Sweet.
Thanks for the question. Yes. Be realistic. Do not. So this is the real challenge, especially on group projects and student projects, because you don't have a producer. You have no time. You have all the time in the world and no time at the same time. You can work on a Sunday, no one gives a damn, right? You can't do that in a studio. So to keep that right, discuss with the team members what your responsibilities are. Discuss, okay, let's aim for that. Is that really realistic? I know from working with students in other schools that there's usually an unrealistic expectation. Like, I think I can do that by Friday without thinking about all the problems and all the hiccups that can happen on the way. So be realistic on what you guys are trying to achieve. talk to each other. In a group project, especially on that level, you're not getting paid to do this. You have challenges of some people will carry more than others, and that's okay. That's everyone's on different learning path. They choose their trajectory. So just be realistic to each other. How much can you do? How much do you want to do? And do that. Don't kill yourself. Like sometimes I've seen students really working their asses off so hard on group projects or personal projects and thinking that doing so will make them better artists. A lot of times it makes them too tired to see the real picture of actually if I do a little bit less and better quality, that's what's going to get me a job. So I hope those tips help, Jono. But yeah, that's a little bit.
Also, I would say alcohol, drugs, and a lot of energy drinks. Don't mix all of them together. That's bad. But individual, good.
That's cool. Spike, be patient. It took me 1 month to do something I can do now in half an hour. My first month in Houdini. That's how long it took to do a simple destruction. Really simple. Gray house. It took a whole month to do that. And I look at it and say, oh, that's quite cool. I can do it so quick now. And Houdini is easier software today as well.
Yeah.
Yes, then we've hired people from US to work with Axis. It's all good. The time zones can be a bit challenged, especially if you are on the West Coast. On the other hand, it works. We have people from Sydney, Australia, Japan at some point. It's just to reassure you have some time with your lead and supervisor. Nice one. Should I show something, another FMX preview, the project we're gonna go talk about, Urban, or do you have another question to share?
I have questions, but I would love to see more stuff because I'm interested.
Okay, let's go. So at FMX I'll be talking about is a bit Destiny. Should I do his sound? I'll do his sound a bit lower this time. Let me see. So yeah, there we go. We've done loads of cinematics for the Lightfall, kind of Destiny 2, how do you call it? Kind of DLC, I believe it is, or launch.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. And cool. Within 3 minutes, you have everything. You have explosions, you have laser beams, you have portals, you have a character made of effects, you have destruction, you have plant growth, and a lot of magic as well. And this is the challenges we face when we work in game cinematics and trailers, and we're hiring people, we're coaching team members. We need a lot of times generalist team members because, yeah, if you're really good at doing explosions, you might just a few explosions in a project here and there. But if you know Houdini well and you can use your technical abilities to do different types of effects, whether if it is explosions or destructions or more magical elements or more stylized like these, laser beams and plant growth.
Wow.
This was like a really challenge because of that complexity. You see all these effects, every single one of them are quite heavy to do, quite heavy to develop, although you're doing 3 shots. That's really all. That's all. 3 shots done. So you're developing this complex system and effects, and you're doing 3 shots. We work towards shot camera, obviously, to make sure we kind of can implement all these as fast as possible. But yeah, and you have to take some shortcuts as well. But no, so I'll be talking a little bit about this during FMX talk. It'll be quite fun. I'll show some of the planning aspects, how I think as a supervisor going into a project like this. Like, okay, what are the key elements I need to reassure functions and work for the team so the team can succeed, because the team will be doing the work. I'll be there on the sideline. I will do some effects whenever it's needed, but I really want to reassure the team can do the best they can. So that's kind of my mindset going into this. The video's a bit washed out because it's YouTube.
Looks great.
But yeah, you see, it doesn't stop. It just keeps going. It's non-stop effects. And some of them we did version 1, and everyone like, that's it. Because of those brief documents, version 1, that's it. Finesse, add details, we're done. And just this guy here, luckily, we actually created him on a previous project. So for this one, we rebuilt him from scratch and did all, because he has multiple effects. He has a mystique effect on his body, he has a head plume made of flip fluids and smoke. He has his cape, his hand has a strobing effect, as usual handmade. But yeah, we we rebuilt him from scratch to reassure automation was possible because I had like 50 plus shots with just him, and he's scary, very scary. Yeah, he's
Wait,
scary
this
to
is
do.
21 minutes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we've done now 21 minutes. Yeah.
Woo!
I'm only gonna show probably this. I can't show all of them on FMX. It's way too many. Let me see if I can find another one. Some of them are in game. Yeah, we've done these, we've done these, we've done all these, we've done these. Yes, so this was the same project. Some of these, as you can see, that one comes from the game, and so forth. But yeah, let me see if I can find the Portal one. That's very comp heavy. Yeah, this one here. For anyone who likes Destiny 2, don't watch because this is a spoiler probably. Yeah, this one. Another favorite one of mine as well. So I'll probably be showing only these two to FMX. There's no time to show all of it. How much time do you have to finish it? I'm just gonna check the questions. How much time do you have to finish this? So this came in 2 stages. The first stage, I think for effects, we probably have had 2 months from start to finish for effects.
For 21
But
minutes.
what we tend to do, no, for some of the trailers,
Okay.
21 minutes. So there's there's a complete different project team essentially because it was so much and everything at the same time, everything all at once at the same time. It sounds like a film. We did to have 2 different teams working on it. So meanwhile we'll be doing this one. There was another team doing other trailers, cinematics for the same 21 minutes. But you have to. It's all covered in the FMX talk. Actually, the planning coming to this. But the first thing we did, as soon as we knew we had a project and we knew where is he, this bad guy, where is the witness, we knew this guy would be there. We just project hadn't started, animation hadn't started. We just started cleaning up the asset. Let's automate it, and we actually spent a lot of time doing that to prevent any issues down the pipeline of 50 shots with him. He's
How
quite
long?
badass.
How long
Can't
did
really-
you spend on the development part just for him?
for him? So on this time around, I think probably spent just a month on him. But we had developed him once before, and that actually it was one of the longest. We never spent months in Axis on assets like this because we don't have the time. First time we did him, I think we started and it took 2 months, I believe it was, from
One
start to
person
finish.
or multiple people?
So we started one person. Then, if you look at him, he has so many different aspects. So one person. Then I think I joined in to help out. So we took different aspects of his body to develop. It's also worth mentioning that he is getting developed alongside the effects is getting developed because we're doing a game. So he might change the look a little bit of what he's doing in game. I'm like, okay, let's adapt that. So you do these things, and Destiny as a game is so cool because it's crazy art directed. A character like that, who comes up with it? It's pretty cool. I can maybe try to find the actual video, the release of him, the one with the planets and stuff. I'll try to find it, see if I can share it.
So there was there was an extreme close-up of him at the end. Is that the same asset that you were using for the wides? So it has to be super high quality so you can actually go like to an extreme close-up.
And that's what we do when we do automation. We created a system that, okay, we can choose. So whoever's implementing the effects into the shot can choose which version of the asset you use, which version of the sims you use. Because the super high res one, it was actually never made to be wide. Like it kind of a little cuts off, like beyond a certain amount.
Place to the camera.
Just so you can keep all the kind of, yeah. So just so you can keep all the details where you need. Otherwise, you have this massive cache all about. I'll try to find the real one. Which queen cutscenes I think it is. I'll find it and I'll let you know. Some questions. We have loads of questions. Oh
my God.
Wow, it's a lot of questions. Okay, Axis. Okay, I'll answer Andrew Watling. Do Axis have any internships running now or coming up in the next few months? We do usually do something that's pretty cool. And first and foremost, is focused on the local talent. So schools in Scotland and England, but I believe sometimes open also to the wider world. And we do a mentorship program. So it's not an internship, but you usually get coached by someone in the team. You do an application through your school usually, and if you cannot accept it, you get a mentor in Access. And that's a really cool system, especially for the more art-heavy teams, kind of like concept art and so on, because you need to show the ability of not just draw beautifully, but draw beautifully from a creative direction perspective and be able to adapt and so on. So yeah, that exists. On the effects side of things, we've done that once or twice, but mostly what we focus on is when I would hire an intern, it'll be a paid intern, expecting them, as a junior. Basically, come in as a junior, and that's okay. They can call us internship to the school, but we teach them and coach them to be working already in production. So you're not going to sit on the side doing random simulations. You'll be actually get a shot, even if it's a simple one, and that that's your shot. Cool. I hope I answered that one for you. I'm breaking to this. So there's a lot of questions. I'm trying to find the video, Urban. So if you can answer one other question.
If I can answer, everybody's asking you specifically.
Asking me? Oh man,
Yeah.
I don't know anything, guys. I'm like Jon Snow. I know
Actually,
nothing.
funny enough,
share.
I saw the actor a few weeks ago in London. He was just sitting there in a coffee shop, and I was like, I know you. Such a weird experience.
Yeah, I don't know. So this was also Destiny, and this is the previous kind of game release, The Witch Queen, which we did. And also kind of similar premise, not as heavy on the effects frontier, I will say. Man, I really dislike how washed out it gets on YouTube. Sorry for that, folks. Just imagine this more contrasting. Yeah, so not as effects heavy. There are some really cool water effects and so on. And usually working in Access, because things are sometimes just one-off and you're not doing 50 shots of the same thing, that's not very common for us. If an artist is good and can do a flip, okay, that's your challenge. Go. You have a few weeks to do it. Here's what we propose. The cameras and animation should be ready by that time, so start implementing straight into shots and so on. But this was a challenging shot for sure, this one we get into, because it's a continuous shot. You get in to these characters and they have magical effects on top. They get in, then we pull out and the ocean has changed. Then you're gonna have Pacific Rim worms flying through. This is a cool experience. Everyone was afraid of this ocean simulation. And I was afraid as well to a point because we didn't have loads of time, but I think I had the right team members on board for it. And that was fine. The ocean was completely fine. The challenge became then that character at the end we had to create, which you're going to see after this. I'm going to answer questions. Meanwhile, let's see. We have another one here. Super excited to have me here. This is from Loic. And I would like to ask you for some advice about skill we should have. Is Houdini enough for effects artists or nowadays? When also something like Unreal Engine is difficult for getting the first job in the industry, in your opinion. So I would say, do you need Unreal and Houdini? Depends if that's the work you want to do. If you want to work in a video game company, I'll probably say 90% Unreal and then a little bit of Houdini to support that, depending on the balance. If you want to be an effects artist for CG and visual effects, I'm not hiring specifically Unreal Engine effects artists, so it's more about if you're really good in Houdini, that's amazing. A complementary skill to have is comp. So if you've seen some of these shots, not these ones, I think just in Engine, they have quite a lot of comp elements, especially magical effects. And by the way, this is when the Witness, the first time we did the Witness, when he revealed himself. Oof. Yeah, this guy. This is the first time we did him. And he just made effects. This shot was hard. It's 2000 something frames and non-stop sims, non-stop. And have this resonance, which is in game, is this sound wave type of magical effect. It has the head plubs, had everything. It doesn't stop. For some reason, Axis always ends up with those single camera moves, really long shots.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember this guy. Yeah.
Is the delay effect on him, is that done in comp or is that actual geometry?
No, so that's geometry. The hands and the cape, it's all geometry. So, and especially on see that one, this is all geometry, especially on the second stage, which is the other project I showed you guys. They'll be talking FMX. We had it's geometry based. You can keyframe and so on to reassure you get the right when you want it, because it's not always. It's usually when he does specific movements. But yeah, the witness, the fun guy. Hard challenge. But yes, this shot was really challenging. As you can see, you get really close. And the trick, because we were really struggling getting the simulations in time, because they were like 20 hours if you're going to try to keep it too heavy. So through the process, because it's a flip sim, or not a flip sim, yeah, it is a flip sim, a smoke sim, because you have the surface sim being a flip sim, we could do different lot systems of the simulation. And literally, you could kick off a simulation and have a transition, like 200 frame range, 200 frames, 300, and you just start meshing each other's particle. All of a sudden, you have a higher res sim of the 200 frames. So this keeps going. And I think this pull in from here, from there, to that's 3 different sims you get. And you just transition between them, just using the particles in the meshing process. So the meshing is getting more and more complex.
So the transitioning
and
was
smaller.
So that transitioning was not happening in comps.
It's all in meshing.
It was still meshing.
No, all in meshing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you run the sims, boom, you have overlap, and then you use the particles themselves to mesh and transition them, and slowly changing the voxel size, which is a bit dangerous sometimes, but it worked if you do it neatly and nicely.
Yeah, it works.
Cool.
Looks beautiful. Yeah, that's a good question. Who
Looks cool,
renders the sims? The FX artist or the lighting artist?
Just the render fairies. No, we generally speaking, especially for more magical effects and energy-based effects, we tend sometimes to render even final image. Sometimes we provide even a final pre-comp to the lighting team. So the only thing they do is just take in the pre-comp, into the scenes, adjust a few things, all good. So it really varies from sometimes final shots, if it's just effects, we've done that, and I've been doing that lately, to just the shading of smoke. So you have all those kind of balances, and that's why I mentioned it's quite good to learn compositing, the simple aspects of compositing, and to understand shading as well. We shade all our effects. So if I create a smoke, if I create anything, we shade it. Even if someone else is going to do a different shader, we shade it. At least that's in Access. I know other companies have a surfacing team, so you just give them a VDB cache and they will shade it for you.
Yeah.
Lighting does Fido comp. Yeah, that's usually the case. So in these projects that I showed you guys, they're very CG heavy. They're not a VFX projects, because we do VFX projects as well. In a VFX project, we should have a 2D team, like compositing team. They will take ownership much more on the comp side of things. On these animated projects, you have a lighting artist, it's lighting, rendering, comp. So they do the 3 things. So they own a shot from lighting to comp. And usually us effects come in and help out and kind of work together that way. So we have a question from Evil Symphony, or should I, if I got into Access after how to get into Access after course at DJ? Any tips? Any possible to work from India remotely? Yeah, we have multiple team members who work from India in different areas from the whole world. Really, it is about how to get in. There is no secret answer. Like if you want to ask how to get into a studio, I think the most important question was what we asked before, which is what are the things you should do to show the quality of your work and your personality, and what things should you not do in terms of when you go into an interview. So in your reel, show your work, the best of your quality you can do, and try to make it quite compact actually. All these breakdowns and so on, they're really nice. It's really self-fulfilling. But when you're a supervisor, you don't have time to look at all that stuff, and roughly how you built your system. You look at the smoke or fire. I know how you probably made it. I just want to see what you're capable of and who you are as a person, and I want to get to know you in the interviews. So that's my tip. If you want to get into any studios, do good work, learn how to show your work, and be a good person. Learn how to work in groups and teams.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
How did you get back? Oh, Sebastian, yeah. I don't remember. It was many years ago. I think we stopped. The folder got moved. We stopped the transition, brought the folder back, but also had a backup like a few hours ago, so on. It was Don't ask me. I called IT and we solved it together. um, but yeah,
Good times.
sorry about you asking. We rendered. Okay, here's another question. Rendering mantra karma using ST in your workflow at all? Good questions. So when I joined Axis, mantra, we were doing here. It was awesome. We were doing first since 2000, I don't know, 10. Like it was crazy early. So mantra, I love mantra, except it's slow, but it was amazing. These days we use Arnold. We tried Redshift on the way. Not my favorite, not for the scale we were doing. Geometry was just really difficult to deal with. But nice render, especially for quick things and small and viewport, awesome. These days we use Arnold. And yes, we start doing building our USD pipeline as well. So that is on the go. Don't know when exactly it will be implemented, but it's on the go. Quite exciting because we do a lot of, I showed a few projects here, but we do also work in a real engine, and we do also do full cinematics in a real engine.
Yeah.
That's Axis. We do like everything.
Dude, it was.
pretty cool.
I remember like I was doing cinematics, and then we got a project, and it was Gears of War, and I was like, Hudson, I want to do real time. I always wanted to do games, and you were like, you want to learn Unreal? I was like, yes. And then I think you gave me like 2 or 3 weeks to like learn Unreal. And then we started working on shots on Gears of War 5. And I was like, oh my God, I'm working on a game. This is amazing. And this was all in the same studio. So I was jumping between game cinematics, TV shows for Netflix, more game cinematics, and then working on a video game. And then from a video game, I started I started leading layout as well and supervising layout because of my cinematography background. There was one cinematic where I think we had to do the grade. The grading was done in-house. And I was like, yeah, I know how to use DaVinci. And then me and Sava, we were in a room and I was like grading the cinematic with him. And I was just like jumping from one thing to the other, and it was so good. Like it was such an amazing experience. Like that's how you grow as a human, not just as an artist, but like just soaking everything in. It was awesome.
I do like what's quite interesting you mentioned there, which is the problem solving learning trajectory, which is a little bit how I do. I tend to think I actually don't know much about anything, especially Houdini. But if someone gives me a shot, how are we gonna do this shot? And I look at okay, I have no clue, shit. And you start, and then you start, and then you start relearning things you already knew.
Yes.
Things you maybe forgot.
Yeah.
Some new techniques, and you start trying. So someone gives you the problem and how you can adapt to the problem and solve it.
Yeah.
It's quite a fun thing. Not everyone likes it. It's not everyone's cup of tea. Some people like it much more linear, kind of I researched this, so I will do that because I'm good at it, because I like it, and that's completely fine. Just different learning mechanism for sure. It's a high variety. I do a lot of the grading now, so a lot of these ones I've done the grading for, which is quite fun. I like
in
it.
in DaVinci.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I started doing photography, and then the guy asked, can you help us grade this project? I was like, for Magic the Gathering. I was like, fine, if you want to. Sure.
Dude, that's it. That's how you learn. You learn on the job when the stakes are high, and maybe it's a bit janky, maybe it's not done perfectly or whatever, but you get there. It's like through iterations, right? You over time, like nothing happens overnight. You have to be a bit patient. You need to be patient and consistent. I feel like that's really the key. Yeah.
And also reassure if you're in a culture where it's how to say, if you feel used, if you're in any company or any culture, or any organization where you feel used, it's not fun anymore. It's not fun to learn. It's not fun to do those things because you just feel used. I'm just gonna ask to do that. So you do need a kind of a culture of a full culture of, you keep your hours, normal hours and so on, but you can try this different challenge. Can we do it? And everyone together. When everyone's together, it feels much better. So I agree, Urban.
Yeah.
We have a question here. Is a large difference between effects artists versus effects TDs in Axis, if any at all. So we didn't have an effects TD for many years. We just included that role within the team, and it's not a lot of difference. The main difference is you understand GitHub and work with the pipeline team, so you know how to implement some of our tools. You like a bit more Python and you work more with the team. You have time allocated for that. Most of the times, all the FX cities we've had in Access, from FX standpoint, there's been in the contract that they are an FX TD towards the team. All of them has been at least 50% an artist as well, both because they enjoy it, also you're still using the pipeline which they are helping build.
Yeah.
So it's not a massive difference that way. Some projects require an FX CD for much longer time, like a few months. Then you go into the project with that role mindset. But no, there's not a kind of a black and white and separation. It's kind of the FX CDs are within the team. Sometimes some people do the Python scripts and we implement it into a pipeline and so on. So yeah, hope that answers your question, Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Access especially is a bit of a unique place in that regard. Because maybe in like larger studios, like, you know, big studios, there is a separation. You have artists, you have FXTDs. FXTDs would make tools that the artists would then use and implement in shots. And I feel like, and again,
No.
and I feel like
Yeah.
that's why you learn so much at Access as well, because you, in a way, you are the artist and an FXTD at the same time, right?
If you join Access as a junior, you will do your own setup.
Yeah.
Period. Like you. That's why it's difficult. It became challenging to hire a recruit as well with the expectation, because you need, even if a junior level, have a more generalist understanding of the software and have some eye for the art, so we can kind of lift you up from there. But yes, so most likely you do your own setup. So FXTD would more be you're closer to the pipeline. We're talking about actual tools for the team, not a FX setup like this character we showed you.
Yeah.
More like an actual tool the team needs. So we need a publisher or whatever it is. So that's what FXT would do.
Yeah.
Someone asked how this was done, the plume head. In short, a lot of time, quite pain in the ass. But when you know the secret, it's not that difficult. Flip fluids, smoke simulation, we tried everything, but it is a smoke simulation, quite driven, a lot of it in Origin to create the velocity kind of fields and so on. Plug in heads, plug in particles, mesh it nicely, retrieve the UVs, retrieve everything from the character, travel along. That's just one of the plumes. And then you have a smoke simulation. We did not want to have a 2-2 train, so he wouldn't leave a trail behind like a train. So they became, but we had this challenge. Okay, it's stuck to his body, but he's a weird being. He belongs and doesn't belong in the galaxy in a way, so he can move however he wants. The smoke will follow him. So yeah, I hope there's a really short. It's quite complex. In the FMX talk, I'll show a few more steps. But yeah, it's not a straightforward thing, but it kind of is. When you look at it, it feels like a straightforward, but you develop to the point where you know how you're going to do it. What is stable, because it has to run stable as well. The heads have to be in the perfect symmetry, or just on the edge, but not outside, not inside, but also follow, and also not stretch too much. So there are multiple things to think about when you're doing something like this. Cool.
It's
Hope I
awesome.
answered your question there.
Yeah, it's good. Are the heads on? Are the heads just a particle sim also going up?
We've tried procedural, tried particles. What to end in the end?
Or are
Both.
both a mix?
But yes, they are particles. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
particles. Because we try deforming them, we try not make them particles, and I think the later systems we have them fading off, so they come at some point. They do turn into the sim and gets plugged into back to
Yeah.
the sim and do the nice swirls. So yeah, all that cooperating with each other.
Awesome.
It's good
Okay.
fun.
Okay, so I think we're gonna wrap it up. I have one more question. Especially when we were discussing FXCD versus being an artist.
Yeah.
I know you're a big anime fan, and I keep pushing anime to everyone. What do you think anime does so well, and why do you think it's a good source of inspiration?
Is that your last question?
the
You
best
don't want
one.
to go home. No.
Yeah.
So it is the best question. Anime and sound effects. So how I brief the team members or give feedback. I use a lot of sound effects. Try to explain kind of timing, ease in, ease out, curves and movements. Why anime is amazing? There are only two restrictions in anime. It's your talent and your time. And a lot of the times, the guys doing the high-end anime, they have amazing talent and amazing eye for effects and how he moves. It's insane. Even if you don't like anime, watch some of the big ones, mainly for the effects purposes. Watch Demon Slayer, watch Fire Force, all these new ones, and you just see the pure talent and how the movements of every element is just so dynamic and beautiful. And it's really hard to recreate that in 3D. It's really hard, sometimes
Yeah.
impossible, because it's not physically correct at all.
Yeah.
It just looks absolutely amazing from screen space. We've done a little bit of that on our end. Right, we've mixed 2D, 3D. Should I bring one of those projects up? I mean, we had one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that reel I showed you guys. Let me see, I still have it. I should still have it here. That stylized reel I was showing. So a lot of this, there we go. A lot of the stylized things. Some of these are actually 2D effects together with 3D. So that was one of the things we changed quite early on in the team. Is before the 2D effects team was under the art department with concept artists and TMP. I was talking to the head of art, and we agreed maybe the 2D effects team and effects should cooperate and be together. So a lot of these effects that you see, they have a 3D element and a 2D element together, cooperating. Yeah, Arcane. By the way, our head of effects was the effects supervisor of the Arcane. So he's the one who's our new head of effects, and he loves, all really good with these 2D effects.
Yeah.
Henri and Moraine really likes it. So we maintain that, which was a really challenge when we were recruiting as well, to get people to know and the art style. But yeah, folks, anime is king from the perspective of inspiration, timing, motion, shape, language,
Shapes.
zero restrictions.
Color.
Imagine Houdini with zero restrictions. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a masterclass in artistic principles for everything, right? And I think I keep telling people this when they ask me, oh, what should I learn as an FX artist? I'm like, learn timing. Learn how to animate a sphere really well so it feels dynamic. Because if you know how to animate that freaking sphere, which is a gray sphere, you will know how to animate everything. All of the effects are essentially just animation. And that's why Jaden was so freaking, he is so freaking good, because he used to be an animator. And Jaden then transitioned from being an animator to an FX artist, and everything he touched was just like pure gold, because everything moved the right way. So
you have the timing, so that's one, and then you have the other one, which is the balance of visuals. And I'm just gonna get the last tip. Let me take one example here. See if I can pause somewhere, anywhere. I want a very simple effect that's easy for everyone to understand. Not this one, scales. Okay. Let's see if I can pause any of this. A lot of the effects only have a very, very small amount of detail in it. It's not you see explosions that has everything. It's so big. But most of the times you just need something that tells you the direction it goes, and the rest is just kind of a supplement to the effect. Now I can't find an effect. Also, I can't really scrub on this. So it's not the greatest. Okay, let's see this guy here. Like, it's really simple. If you look at his, the smoke from his body, it's just one strand. That's all you need. And if someone does a Houdini simulation, they're gonna fill him with smoke, right? Sometimes you just need one, and anything else you do is just smaller details support that. The same with the saliva. It's like 3 strands of saliva for a massive dragon. It still works. It still reads nicely. So that's usually kind of, the balance of elements and the timing of things. If you get those right, then it's all about how much the software and how that kind of stop you or what allows you to shine. Stop sharing this.
Yeah, love
so
that.
many questions. Cool. Yeah, if there's any questions,
What's your
Demon Slayer? Yeah, Demon Slayer.
What's your favorite movie
Favorite
in terms of VFX?
movie? Oh, okay. I'm not a VFX lover. I'm trying to think here. There's so many.
I'm not a VFX lover. I've been doing this for 15 years, but I'm not a VFX lover.
Depends. VFX or FX. It depends what you.
It's a difference. Yeah.
If you mean, it's a difference. So if you mean VFX, the most beautiful VFX you won't notice is there. Obviously, you have big ass explosion. That's not a real thing. But I love films like Dune. It's not in your face. It doesn't have to be everywhere. It's all about every effect supports the story. It has time to breathe, and it's beautiful. See, sand simulation. Do not ever underestimate. Kudos to the DNEG team, I think it
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
who made most of it, if not all. Absolutely beautiful work. It's tremendous, and that to me is one of the last films I've seen. I kind of watched it, and I felt as if that's stellar work from the VFX, from the FX team, from all those departments, because it feels natural. It doesn't feel in your face. It doesn't feel forced, which some other films can. And even the magic effects, just there, just enough. The shields, it's just enough. It's not like the whole character exploding everywhere. So I
Yeah.
hope I answer your question. I do
It,
like Dune. That's cool.
it had a nice harmony of everything,
Yeah.
like the right amount of storytelling, visuals. How would you say, like blockbuster visuals, but also more grounded, intelligent dialogue. So script was very intelligent, so it
Yeah.
wasn't stupid, because a lot of blockbusters have stupid scripts. Stuff like that. Yeah. And yeah,
I
Arcane.
agree.
You mentioned Arcane. I think I was literally hurting inside when I
Oh,
watched Arcane.
beautiful.
I was like, God, so good. God damn,
Yeah.
too good.
It's amazing.
It's almost too good to be true. That's how good Arcane
No,
is.
I remember watching Arcane. It's like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is absolutely fantastic to see. And I kind of really kudos to everyone working on it. Sometimes those projects that look the best, they're the hardest ones to work on as well, because they look the best, which usually means they're solving problems that might not have solved before.
Yeah.
And it's really tough and challenging.
Yeah. I feel like Arcane was something, and there's a good behind the scenes making off of Arcane, and they actually explained that Arcane was cancelled in the beginning because the script was not good enough. That was like before it even went it went officially in production, got cancelled because the script was not good enough, and then they started making those music videos because they had a team of people and they had to put them. Yeah, they were like, we need to employ them and put them on something. And meanwhile, the script was being refined, and then it came back in production. So everything was a painful process, but you can definitely worth it. 100% the best.
We got a question here if you're gonna ever start a studio, Urban.
Yes, 100%. DoubleJump Studios. Here we go.
DoubleJump Studios.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta call it Triple Spin Studios.
Triple spin, double backflip.
Yeah, Academy, but also doing projects same time. Yay.
Oh, dude, it would be a lot. I don't know. Me and Philip, we used to joke. Me and Eva and Philip, we used to joke. We're gonna open a studio and we're gonna name it Pat the Panda. So Pat the Panda.
I kind of like Pet the Panda.
Pat the Panda is a good
Pet the
name.
Panda VFX.
Pat the Panda VFX. Yeah. Maybe one
Yeah.
day. I don't know. It's a lot of work.
Ramen. You have a ramen machine. You have a ramen machine there.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it'd
The
work.
three of you guys, definitely.
Instead of free coffee, you get
Yeah.
free ramen. It'd work. That would be good.
Correct.
Yeah.
Let me see. Is there any other? I don't know if I've missed any questions, by the way, folks. I've been trying to keep an eye on the chat meanwhile speaking, and yeah, I hope I got most of it. But if it's something really important and that you want to ask again, you've asked already. Please write it down. Someone asked for books. Don't forget workshops.
Workshop. Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up because otherwise we're gonna be here for a while. But yeah, definitely, Hudson, this was goddamn. Yeah, I hope we can do this again because I feel like we could just talk. Maybe the next time we can actually dissect some of the anime shots. So maybe I pick a few anime shots, you pick a few, and we actually go through it and why it's good. What is it? What is it about the timing? What is it about the color harmony and the shape? I feel I like doing stuff like that. I really like analyzing shit.
Yeah, I mean, I would say all because they're all good.
Yeah.
It's just good. That's what you think.
Yeah.
Awesome.
yeah.
Thank you so much. The 3 books, the one thing, this, and it's another one, which is beautiful, which is like a small white one. Anyway, ask me. I'm in the chat, so I'll try to answer at some point. But these are the books, and to start effects, just do it. Start doing it. Just start doing effects. Thank you so much.
Also a good book.
If you all guys wants to be an annoying CEO like Urban, just read that book. Otherwise, don't. Just learn Houdini.
All right.
No,
Thanks, Hudson. Thanks.
Yeah, kick ass, guys. Bye. See you
Cheers.
later. Oh, Mate, how are you, bro? Nice to see you, man. Bye. Bye.